So, JJ, this is the location of a storybook wedding that occurred here a couple of weeks ago. And I was partially involved in putting together the flowers. And when you look at this site, these are the Tabby Ruins of George Edwards. And we wanted to just recreate an old world garden on these grounds. And it really did turn out to be what we had hoped it would be. And we got special permission to really put some decorations on the ruins for the first time, as long as we were not invasive. So we looked at this site and envisioned an old world garden, and then started drawing what flowers we thought might go where. So when you say, what kind of planning went into this, we probably spent 6 months just thinking about what should go where in our old world garden. So we drew it all out. The wedding planner was integral in, siting the tent, the size of the tent, where the cook stations were going to be. The wedding planner really had all the bones all set within which we could develop our garden and create our garden. So during our planning process, we really did a lot of research on Pinterest and in floral books, just looking at the type of arrangements that we wanted to put together for this very, very special place. Once we knew what our look was and what kind of flowers floral arrangements we were gonna use, then we started ordering the flowers. And we ordered the flowers from an outfit out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which bought the flowers from Ecuador and Holland. We were 2 boxes short of what we'd ordered, and 2 boxes got crushed by air cargo. And as we had rented a van to go down to the airport to pick up these 37 boxes of flowers that had been flown in. As we went through the checklist, we noticed that we were missing one rose, and it was a very important rose that was an off-white, creamy white garden rose. And I called the woman who we had helped transport her flowers from the airport, and sure enough, she had our roses. Once again, another trip to Savannah to get all of our flowers. So the logistics of getting that many flowers to a remote area like Spring Island really presented some challenges. And you asked me, did we have a workflow? And in our planning, we had written down exactly every duty that we needed to do, and we put up poster board around the room and then checked it off as we went through everything. And we had probably 110 different arrangements that we were doing, and those were on our checkboard too, so we would know as we were going. And we had certain flowers assigned to certain arrangements, so we were very in control of what flowers were going where. So the workflow was detailed. We had about 13 volunteers that would come help us, and they were at various skill levels. Some people just wanted to do non-floral things, run errands. Some people wanted to learn more about floral arranging, and some people were great arrangers. So we would assign people based on their various skill level, and could not have done this without all of their help. So while the flowers are drinking on Wednesday, we were getting everything else ready, and our greens were delivered separately. And so we could start greening things, and we could start getting the mechanics done on all of the vases, so that on Thursday when the arranging began, we were ready to go. Everything was in place. And also on the logistics, when you're doing arrangements like this, and some were 3-foot high urns, some arrangements were going on top of 5-foot monoliths. Some of the arrangements were going across 7 arches that had to be wired in. There was just a lot of mechanical work that went along with it. So the logistics were very complicated. So we worked on Thursday and Friday and early Saturday morning, putting together all of the floral arrangements. in a building that we call our art barn. So on Saturday, the day of the service at 1 o'clock, we did have a van come and pick up the large floral arrangements. We're sitting here looking with the ruins behind our back. We're looking out at the marsh, and it's a beautiful sight today. And the night of the wedding, the band was right there, and the dance floor was decorated with string lights wrapped in smilax. There were 2 huge urns on either side of the band filled with beautiful flowers. On the wings of either side of the band were lounge areas, and they were draped in this gorgeous, lush, blush, sinewy fabric. And we had put fruit trees in those areas. We had loquat trees that really made it look like, you were indeed in a garden. And then in this area, we had all the dining tables, and then we had tents within the tents. So we did small cages of flowers for each of the tent poles, which was 40 tent poles we did cages for to decorate those. And we had beautiful arrangements on each of the tables and on the buffet tables, and then the long family dining room table was in the middle. And we had a garland going down the center of the family table with an arrangement or 2 in the middle, higher arrangements. But it just looked gorgeous. It was a sight to behold. And as you walked from the ruins into the tent, we wanted to have a large floral arch. Well, the wedding planner thought that 1 arch would really be better if we had 7 arches. So each of those arches had to be draped with greenery, and then the floral cages were wired on to the arches. And that was really a very intense bit of work that we did, because it required, up on the ladders, doing all the greenery and wiring the cages on there. The end result was spectacular, but that really was a mechanical challenge to get that done. We had bistro tables outside of the tent during the cocktail hours, and then they had the food stations outside of the tent as well, where all the beautiful food was served, and it was all done buffet style. So if you turn around and if you look back into the ruins, we wanted to incorporate the ruins so that it looked like the tent, and the decorations were part of the gardens of the ruins. So we did an arbor over one of the doors into the ruins that was gorgeous, and a lot of photographs were posed there. There are these 2 stone pillars that were part of the ruins, and we did these gorgeous arrangements up on top of the pillars, and it looked like the dendrobium orchids were just growing out of the pillars. And then at the base of those, the bride's very special request was for baby's breath, gypsophilia. So we did these 2 huge arrangements of gypsophilia where it looked like you'd just gone out into the garden and picked a handful of fresh growing flowers and put them in buckets of water. And in the ruins, we had lots of potted plants that looked very natural, as if it were indeed you were just walking into your own garden. We had hydrangeas and wisteria, and it was gorgeous. And as you're looking down the oak alley, they had lighted the trees from above, and it was like they were icicles dripping out of the oak trees, emulating the Spanish moss. And it really was truly breathtaking. As you look down the oak alley, you can see what I'm talking about. And the view was just unbelievable. And as you walk down the oak alley into the tent, the way the tent was sited onto the ruins, it just looked like it was part of the ruins. It was the most spectacular sighting of a wedding I've ever seen. And it was indeed a storybook in an old world garden. And then everybody danced until the wee hours of the night, enjoying the incredible reception for the bride and groom. So you go to bed having maybe one too many glasses of champagne, knowing that at 8 o'clock the next morning you have to get up and do the strike. And the strike is what the people in the business call the cleanup. And part of wanting to be here early to get the flowers, two of the large urns we wanted to take down to the parents of the bride because they were having a brunch that morning and we wanted to reuse some of the flowers. So we came and got the large urns, and we came and got a lot of the beautiful table decorations to take to their house for the brunch. And then the rest had to be cleaned up. The arches had to be taken down. All that oasis had to be thrown away. Stakes had to be dug up, and it was heartbreaking to, not to be able to enjoy the flowers for many more days. But they had been out in the sun since about 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. Why don't you call